In our world, we are always being presented with problems. Albert Einstein gave great advice in this matter when he said, "Problems cannot be solved at the level of knowledge or awareness that created them." We have to get outside of our boxes. A mystic sees beyond the box to what has been hidden or forgotten outside the box. My name is Sharon Raji Maynard. It was curiosity that took me on a radical search for answers. Those answers came from ancient ones in spiritual worlds. Their knowledge foundations this podcast, A Mystic's View. Come as you are and see situations through my eyes as we sit together. Diversity is a natural condition within humanity, and hearing diversity expands our capacities. Listen to a mystic's view, to hear, to be enhanced, perhaps to be challenged, but certainly to consider other possibilities. I welcome you to this week's journey. Thanks for coming along. Episode number 2. The past is unchangeable. Or is it? Murdered and missing women in Canada, water protectors in the USA. What do they have to do with me, and what do they have in common? In last week's podcast, I listed one dot of an awareness from many years of working with white women in the United States, and the correlation between the torture perpetrated on many, mostly women, in Europe during the burning times, the witch hunts. Easy correlation. This is my experience. I am white, of European heritage, and American. Brad Marsden, an Indigenous Canadian, spoke on the podcast Missing and Murdered of the relationship between experience of removal and abuse of the First Nations children and the impact of that on their culture. And I understood it. The experiences of those innocent children impacted them directly, hardwired their brains to the abuse, and now, generations later, their grandchildren are acting out patterns of trauma. We have an immense story playing out right now, Standing Rock and the water protectors. Here we are seeing grandchildren of those abused and killed in the United States standing up to say, "No more." They recognize the patterns and are saying, "We will not participate in patterns that are destroying us." As of this podcast, close to 21,000 people are encamped with the water protectors in North Dakota, including thousands of military veterans committed to protect them. And then Leonard Crow Dog led a momentous ceremony of forgiveness, and the veterans acknowledged the injustice that their ancestors had done. This is a huge step toward a new culture of inclusion and valuing. What I know as a mystic is that we can take the healing even deeper into regions of our psyche, to the seeds, to the beginnings. How is that done? With the power of imagination, the law of manifestation, and the personal authority assigned to those in female bodies. So, are you ready to step outside your box into the world of a mystic? So, great. First, let's play with imagination. Imagination is powerful. It places imprints into the energy field. Hear that, for it is no small matter. Close your eyes and gently pay attention to your breath. Notice its rhythm. And bring that attention to your nostrils and notice the sensations of the breath moving in and out of your body. Let any distracting thoughts drop away as you stay with your breath and relax. All the concerns of the day, your life, the world, simply drop them off. Breathe and be still and know this present moment. This shift opens the field of energy to receive intentional imprinting through imagination. In this quiet place, you can travel, create, build, and heal. Yes, even transform the past individually and collectively. Now bring your attention back to this podcast. Now the next step, the power of personal authority. The generational impact of trauma sweeps more and more into its patterns of pain, because once an imprint is an energy, it broadcasts frequencies of its seed out into the collective life force from which we all have breath. We can trim off the buds, we can mow the plant to the ground, but until we pull its roots, the broadcasting of the seeds hidden deep in the unseen continue to create patterns of pain. The hidden seeds of the murder and abuse of Indigenous peoples emerge as the violence against Standing Rock water protectors. And so that is where a mystic would go to bring peace and health into the world, back to those hidden seeds, and rewrite a new story and open new energy for possibilities of good. And like any writing, we choose the intention of our story. Today, our intention is that the collective field of energy will be cleared of imprints that encourages, gives permission, or suggests actions that bring harm to any part of the web of life. We intend that sovereignty for all that is good exists as the energy field, that the collective energy fields are in total resonance with the divine soul harmonics of what we would call greater home. So that's our intention. Now we're going to write the story. So close your eyes, and using the concepts you just went through, breathe yourself into that calm place of imagination. We're going to go into the past to write new actions. Breathe and imagine white settlers gathered to fight Indigenous warriors. Sense their feelings, fear, anger, righteousness. See the faces of the men, their weapons. Now freeze frame that group and turn to imagine the Indigenous tribe getting ready to send out their warriors. Sense their bravery, the resentment, and the righteousness within the men. Hear the music of the dances, the ceremony. Now freeze frame that group. In your imagination, call together a new group. If you are connected to the white settlers, it may be a group of white women. If the Indigenous draws your attention, the groups will be Indigenous women. See that group come together in a circle. They're fearful, they're powerless, they're anxious for their families. Now see an immense group of spiritual women. You may see them as angels or family members who've passed. An immense group of spiritual women surrounding this group of women on the planet. You are there, and I am there. And we hear these words spoken to the women from Spirit. We are here from the future, and we've come to give you options beyond violence. We are here to remind you women of your power, of your authority. Now you breathe. Give space for these words to get the attention from the women of the past. Notice as they begin to turn their eyes toward you, toward me, toward this group of spiritual women. Then hear the spiritual women say, "You, the women, hold the key for peaceful living. You are going to go to the field proposed for battle and stand between the opposing men. You will say with great clarity, 'We women stand for living together in peaceful and loving relationship. We women will vision and create the ways to make that happen. We will not allow violence and killing of those different than us.'" And then the women turn to the circles on earth and say, "We know that you have been trained to forget this mission as designers of peace, but we will be with you and mentor you back to that assignment." And then watch as preparations are made for the women to march. Imagine the women's groups moving to the field of battle and standing in front of their men. Sense the women's feet planted firmly on the earth, anchored, strong, and with hands held to the great sun and sky, surrounded by the spiritual women's immense circle, they say, "Violence and killing are not acceptable. We will not introduce destructive energies into our families that will contaminate generations to come. We will not allow it. We women decree that relationships of valuing and respect will be built from this time forward. All that is needed to create and strengthen this culture of unity within our diversity is available to us." And sense them holding that decree. Now in your imagination, see councils being formed, commitments made, all returning to their homes and family ready to learn, value, share the diverse knowledge in order to create joyful, unified communities. Now leaving the past to reframe and create a new stream of energy, imagine those at Standing Rock. See both sides coming together with a commitment to listen, to create what will enhance the earth, future families, and build strong relationships within the diversity that is humanity. The power of imagination to create imprints that will manifest. And we have energized a seed planted in the 1800s by Julia Ward Howe when she wrote, in a day for Mother's Proclamation, "Our sons shall not be taken from us to unlearn all that we have been able to teach them of charity, mercy, and patience. We, women of one country, will be too tender of those of another country to allow our sons to be trained to injure their sons." By traveling through time, you have participated in a powerful healing to create an alternative energy flow, a new story. New possibilities can now emerge into the physical. This is one event. There are imprints beyond number that can be gathered and stories reframed. It is not the remembering the past that is powerful. It is working with the laws to create a new beginning and therefore new outcomes. In future weeks, we will travel into time to assure sovereignty from the past for all that is good to emerge in the present. Thanks for traveling with me.